so doing a little different type of video today. We are headed to Bart's house. We are going to do a slight comparison video of Tornado 280 clutched with a 2-blade prop on the, it's supposed to be the version 2 race frame, but it's actually a slightly smaller. It's not like the newer one. It's got just the smaller netting, and I found out the dimensions of the frame is a little bit smaller than the newer version 2 frame. And then I've got a clutched Tornado 2, or a non-clutched Tornado 280 on the 130 centimeter 3-blade prop, and then I have a clutched Tornado 280 with the 140 centimeter 3-blade prop. So we're gonna do the 2-blade prop, the 3-blade 130 centimeter prop, and the 140 3-blade prop. So that should be a pretty cool little interesting bit to find out. I'm curious to see what one has, obviously the most thrust and climb rate should be the biggest prop, but I'm curious as to how much noticeable difference it will be. And just smoothness, vibrations, finding out things like that. And I'm just going to show you guys a little bit of the things that I found out about the differences between all the units. And we're going to do the shootout with the clutched and the non-clutched, so vibration, different things like that that you want to keep note of when you're in the market. But yeah, so that should be basically that's the summary of this video. So here we go, let's get it started. Alrighty guys, so here we have the 3 different motors that we're going to be comparing. Up front here we've got the one that I'm going to probably make as my main go-to unit. I've got it all set up with my acro gear, my reserves. I got one reserve here and one reserve there. I've got, this is the Angel 140 square or 140 kilogram reserve. That's the Ozone Angel. And then I've got over here, I've got the it's the Companion SQR. It's kind of like a round square, and that's a 120 kilogram rating, and that's the one I personally bought. And then I got the other one used with this unit. It hasn't actually ever been used, but I got it with this unit when I purchased it. So this one's got the, that's the 140 size prop there. That's the 140 size prop here. And this one has the clutch. And this has the version 2 race frame where the netting goes all the way around, which is pretty nice. I like that. Now, one thing I noticed right off the gates when I first got these things is, so this is my buddy Bart's. That's his Tornado 280 here in the back, clutched on the 2-blade prop. So I'm going to do that comparison flight here shortly. And if you can see the difference, how much smaller his netting or his cage is there than these guys are over here. So yeah, that one back there, you can see it's substantially smaller than these are. And you'll notice down here at the bottom, so this is one big telltale, there's about 1.5 inches difference in length here than there is on his. Now I know his has the bigger tank, but height wise of the tank I don't believe is any different, because in my original Nitro right here, that's got the 11.4 liter tank as well, but that's also really close to the ground, as you can see, so not a lot of height difference there. So kind of interesting. This has the same size frame as what Bart's Tornado 280 has on it. But yeah, so a lot of different scenarios here, options and things like that. So not all of them are, it seems like every single unit has its own little things about it that's different than the other. So yeah, I mean, just like between mine and Bart's, not that this is really much of anything at all, but you can see that that clutch there is just all bright and shiny, whereas his, if I can get you to see it, it's just black with the two lines there. So just subtle little differences. He's got the red rubber mounts right there, where these are all just black. I don't know, there's just so many little things between each unit that's different. It's kind of interesting. But I like the size of his frame better, just because I think that a little bit less is more in some situations, just because there's a little bit smaller, you know, less cumbersome with storing things easier, fit into places better. But that being said, I've noticed that on his frame, I don't think that you would even be able to fit a 140 centimeter 3-blade prop on it, because this one is really just cutting it close. His definitely would touch the ground, I'm sure, because this one here, when this prop is all the way down, which I can close to do, yeah. So you'll see that gap there is very, very small. There is not much space at all. Now, if this frame was 1.5 inches shorter like Bart's is, that would definitely be on the ground. So I don't think that you can run the 140 centimeter if you have that older style frame. You maybe could, but you'd have to be super careful, and I feel like your lines would be very vulnerable to getting nicked by the prop. So you'd have to take that into consideration if you're running that size frame and you're thinking about doing an upgrade on your prop. Keep that in mind. Now, they do have the 130 centimeter 3-blade prop, which is what I've got here. This is the 130 centimeter prop. This is on a clutched unit, so I can't actually turn it over very well. You could maybe get away with this because there is more space here. Hopefully you guys can see that. There's a decent amount of space between the end of this prop and the outside of this cage. So I bet you could probably fit this onto this size frame if that's the frame you have. Now, I'm pretty sure the easiest way to tell is just if your netting stops here, like Bart's does. If your netting stops and you have this opening, you've got the, I guess it's the older style frame, which does have its benefits. It's a little more compact. I like that about it. These are less apt to hit your legs when you land. It's one thing I noticed, is it does hang a little bit lower on you. So you've got to take that into consideration if you're a shorter person, or if you just really want it to have lots of space. Take into consideration the fact that you're going to have that hanging a little bit lower on your legs when you're running, especially when you're landing. I noticed I've smacked the backs of my legs into that frame a couple times. It's not the greatest, but it's not the end of the world either. So yeah, just things to consider when you're looking for a paramotor. But other than that, they're all roughly the same. I've got the acro bars on this because I'm going to be using this unit for acro. But otherwise, they're pretty much apples to apples. Yeah, I don't know. I'll do a vibration test and a thrust comparison test, and I'll let you know how that goes. I'll probably just test my climb rate. I'll use an altimeter that shows rate of climb so I can be more accurate, because I feel like it's going to be so close between the 3 different units that I'm not going to notice enough just with my own body, other than doing scientific methods with calculations and algorithms. So that's the plan. Let's get it started. All right, so here we are with the 2-blade. This is actually, I think, the newest of the motors, honestly, based on the number here. And it's also got this newer style exhaust clamp, which is great. But the odd thing is this is the one with, I guess, the oldest style frame, because the netting doesn't close up like that. So, and it's also a little bit shorter. So that one comes about to here on me, whereas next one over, about 2.5, 3 inches taller, up to there. So this is the 130 centimeter prop. You can see the clearance there, about 4 fingers, but that's on this taller frame. So whereas Bart's prop, which I've already measured center to end of tip, is shorter than that 130 centimeter, and it's only got 2 inches, or like 2 fingers of space between it and the ground. So you'd have to do some modifications, or just never set your unit down if you were to put a larger prop on here. You could probably get away with the 130 centimeter because it's not a lot different, but it would be cutting it close. But definitely not room for the 140 centimeter prop. Other than that, slight differences between these two. This is obviously the non-clutched unit. So, and for people who are curious about possibly putting a clutch on their unit, it is a no-go, because this is a different length on this unit right here than on a clutched unit. So that's quite a bit shorter. You notice that length versus how long it is over here on the clutched unit. So if you were wanting to know if you could convert yours, unfortunately, not that I'm aware of, because it's completely different engine housing. So aside from that, the engines all pretty much look identical. I'm guessing the years of them are a little bit different. Not necessarily year, but just the number of which the one it was made. The date at which it was made is probably this. Bart's, I believe, is the newest. It's got the highest number on it. This one here's number is 149. This one over here is numbered 046, so maybe the 46th motor that was made of the Tornadoes. I don't know, maybe of this version. That one's 149th, and Bart's is number 237, so quite a bit later. So this is, I believe, the newest motor, but on the older style frame. Just a little interesting thing there. And also, if you're wanting to try to change hoops, now maybe if you order one directly from the company, they will come non-drilled, but I had mixed up the hoops on these two units, and where this little bottom bit connects in here is a different placement. It's kind of like they're just, each one is drilled and riveted per assembly, I guess. So this little spot here did not line up with how this one is. As you'll notice, this one's a little dot thing that goes into the frame, or the titanium hoop. It's more upright. So you'd have to re-drill that. It's not that big a deal. I mean, you could do it, but just an observation for you guys. As far as the carburetors, unfortunately, every single one of them is the knockoff. None of them actually have the Walbro carburetor. I don't know if they even put a Walbro carburetor on any of them anymore, or if that's just something they kind of worked around with these cheaper Chinese carburetors. But they all seem to run perfectly fine at the moment. So until they poop out on me like my Nitro did. That one's got the Walbro carburetor on it. And it's got my Nifty awesome exhaust clamp that seems to be much more bulletproof than the stuff that comes factory. But, so this is the Nitro. Beautiful machine. But yeah. Alright, so we're going to start off with the two-blade Tornado 280. Bart's frame and motor, and we're gonna see, hopefully I got it primed enough. Give it a fire up here. Maybe. Alrighty, here we go. We're gonna let it warm up a little bit. Gonna do our 2-minute warm up period. Notice the vibrations, the sound. The non-clutched 130 centimeter prop Tornado 280. And this one has the primer bulb, so we're going to go ahead and push that a couple of times. Get her ready to go. Yes, it does. Yeah. Oh my God. Because that prop always kind of definitely Big boy.
140 centimeter prop, dual carb, 19.
Dual carb. It's got 13 carburetors on her. Fuel injected.
So this one is clutched, as you can see. Bam!
It's Dow. And this one's the heaviest of the units. Weighing in at a whopping 60, what? How much did we determine it weighed? 63 pounds?
Can't remember, is that what it was?
Like that, close to it.
What's your top there, bud? Something that I think is absolutely crazy is, guys, I want to get in here. I want you to look how close, don't push nothing. Look how close this prop end is to that. I mean, it's just, there's absolutely nothing.
It's right on the
It's right on the, yeah, it's just asking to cut your lines in half, man. Right?
Why you want to have it clutched, for sure.
Yeah. Motor's torquing.
Hey guys, so that's going to conclude that video. I'm going to do like a two-part series. The other one will have all the thrust tests. I mean, I did kind of like the ground thrust test, as you can see, and a vibration test, and just kind of the overall comparisons of the units on the ground and the different features that they have, each of them. The vibration was probably the least on the Tornado 283 blade, clutched with the 140 centimeter prop. I'm not sure if the 130 centimeter prop would make any difference as far as smoothness if it was on a clutch unit, but on the non-clutched it was definitely a lot more vibration, at least on the ground, and I do notice it when I fly it as well. Aside from that, that's pretty much it, and that was obviously, it felt like the most thrust on the 140 centimeter prop as well, as you would expect. However, the lines are really close, and I have had them tap some of my, I've had the prop tap some of the lines when pulling up the wing, especially if you have some kind of a crosswind or the wing doesn't come up perfectly. So you definitely would want to have a clutched unit if you're going to run that 140 centimeter prop. So something to think about, if depending on your style of launching, you don't want to do a power on launch. You'd want to definitely you have to bring the wing up, then get on the power afterwards. So keep that in mind if you're in the market for them. I'm going to do a different video that'll show the climb rate tests and stuff like that and other things. So hope you liked the video. Please hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, comment down below if you have any questions. Just let me know what you guys are thinking. Thanks. See ya.